Elastic characters. A lot of games have them, but for me, they never quite reach the levels of freedom I'm looking for. They often just rely on pre-baked animations or very limited control. I wanted to see if maybe I could make his movement I'm looking for. This is a story of how I made a human catapult. At the start of the project, I had a bunch of ideas floating around in my head. Active ragdolls, first-person flying, roguelike upgrades. But none of them particularly stood out to me. Then, a friend said something offhand, and it clicked. The best part about this idea, I was pretty sure nobody had ever done it before. A first-person game where you slingshot yourself. The first thing I tried was a system where you attach both hands to surfaces, walk back, and launch yourself, using Unity's built-in hinged joints. But after playing around with it, the launch felt way too weak, and the arms didn't really feel elastic. Back to the drawing board. Some things that stuck were giving the player lower friction in the air, making the player automatically jump on release, and adding extra upward momentum to each launch. Being happy with the new version, I convinced my mom to play the game. Turned out to be the smartest and most impactful decision of my entire development process. My mom absolutely despised the prototype. My mom was just constantly fighting the camera system, struggling to set up her jumps. And when she finally almost had a nice jump, she would just let go prematurely. At the end, she was just begging me to take over. Now, you might be asking, why did my mom's reaction hit so hard? Well, throughout the development of my prototype, one of my big goals had been to make the mechanic as intuitive as possible. And the ultimate test for intuition is giving the game to someone who has never touched a first-person game before. And clearly, it fails. But, luckily for me though, game design is all about iteration. So, I went straight back to the drawing board, cooking up as many fixes as possible. Then it was time to face the judge of truth again. It went meh. She really liked one change I made, where you didn't have to constantly fight the pull of your arms while standing on the ground, but only feel it when you move, giving her time to slowly set up her jump instead of needing to rush it. Good enough for now. While playing around with the mechanic though, a problem started to slowly creep in. No, it's not that it looks like Poppy Playtime. Please stop comparing it to Poppy Playtime, it works totally differently. The problem was that the movements started to feel like two grappling hooks, rather than an actual human made from rubber. To fix this, I added a rest length to the arms where they don't apply force, and visually overhauled the rope so they look relaxed or tense depending on how stretched they are. Pretty happy with the result. I lost interest for a bit while school took over. 4 weeks later, I returned with fresh eyes and quickly identified 3 problems holding the project back. Number 1, mid-air control is very hard. Number 2, the arms still don't feel elastic and intuitive enough. And number 3, you don't feel cool. To fix this, I went on an absolute rampage. Speed lines, impact particles, a bullet time mechanic to help you aim mid-air, and even more up bias for satisfying launches. I gave it to a new tester and the physics fell off and the game felt way too fast. I started changing a bit of values, but instantly ran into a bigger problem. My code, which hadn't really been touched since the prototype, was still mostly stinky prototype code. Every time I wanted to change something, it would create 20 bugs, which would cascade, and before I knew it, a simple physics change would take about 3 hours. So I threw it away and rewrote the entire project from scratch. 48 hours of painstaking work later, and the project was in a better state than it had ever been. The physics were reworked into clean state machines. Highly situational variables were suddenly easy to tune. And best of all, it completely restored my energy to work on the project. What used to feel like an impossible task now felt like a simple addition I could just implement without thinking about it. Time to add some levels. The first two are simple. First a basic launch, then you launch straight up. But from level 3 it gets interesting. You have to catch yourself mid-air, swing to build up stretch, and change your momentum to reach the next point. For the last level, you'll have to find it out yourself. For the final playtest, I gave the game to my younger sister. Now, I've forced her once or twice over the years to test my games, but I've never seen her react like this. She absolutely loved it. The whole time she was playing, she was laughing and giggling, refusing to stop even when I suggested she didn't have to finish. I felt truly accomplished in this moment. When she finished the game, however, she suddenly had things to do and didn't want to answer any of my questions. I guess she did have something else to do after all. Anyway, if she wants to play the game again, she can go to the video description and download the game right now. Let's see if she can beat my time, or yeah. Wreck my physics engine once again.